miles to the world, we're hitting first base. Marty Lurie with friends, home run. You know the ways and the trends, the stories all with the mitch of the block. It's Marty and friends. Marty and friends.
All right, great to have you with us on this July 4th weekend as we get ready for baseball. And Marty Lurie and friends talking ball. Great to have you with us. It's been quite a week for me seeing the whole Arizona series down here. And joining us today, my friends, of course, Rick Smith, wonderful baseball fan and knows the game cold and is very knowledgeable about the Giants. Rick, nice to have you. Happy 4th
Good to see you, Marty.
Yeah. Shana Rubin, who covers the Giants for the Chronicle and actually has a day off today and is nice enough to come and join us with some of her thoughts. Shana, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Marty.
Yeah. And Eric, of course, Sports Talk Live, right, Eric?
Yes, sir. Giant Sports Talk Live. Happy 4th to everyone out there. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great to have Eric with me. He's my anchor here throughout all these shows. Well, Giants are in Sacramento to take on the A's this weekend. And let's talk about tonight's game, first of all, because we do a pregame here. Justin Verlander, 42 years old, 0-5, 426 earned run average. The whip is 1.39. When he faced the A's the first time, that was the first sign of trouble. Remember that game? He couldn't throw a strike, and he walked 5 in that one. Well, it's gotten a little better for him. And I'll start with Rick on this one. His last 2, 11 innings, 10 hits, 4 runs, no homers, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. He has gone 13 games without a win. Now, the bullpen has blown a few for him. But it is Verlander tonight, 42 years old. And I want to get, Shana, some of your thoughts, too, about this ballpark tonight. Rick, what do you think about Verlander so far in the season and tonight?
Well, I think he looked good the last game, I thought. Pretty good. I mean, he should have gotten a victory. He's Verlander, but he's 42. That's the fundamental problem with Verlander. And they got to run this thing out. They got to keep throwing him out there. He's got that presence. I think he's good for the team. I think he's going to win tonight. How's that prediction? I just kind of feel it happening, and it'd break the ice with him. I'm not as down on him as some people are. He hadn't been great. ERA's a little high. The whip's kind of high, but I'd stick with him.
Well, I think that sums it up. He has not been great, but he's gone 13 starts without a win. Shana, get your thoughts on Verlander tonight and a little bit about that ballpark that the Giants are going to be in tonight.
Yeah, I think the ballpark mixed with Verlander might just be a potential worst case scenario for him. He's a fly ball pitcher. He kind of bit him. I think last game he induced 11 fly outs, which tied a career high. And he's played a long time, so it's hard to tie those numbers. Not that that's going to carry over necessarily, but if he fly balls at Sutter Health are dangerous. So I think there's a potential for it to spiral on him tonight. But he's also been pitching better. I mean, it's since the last time he played the A's, pitched against the A's. That's when the pectoral nerve issue started to flare up, and that's why the velocity was down. That's why he was struggling so much that game. And it's been since he was very careful about when he would return. He wanted to feel 100%. He's very conscientious now about his health because last year that he was rushing through things, and that's really what led to one of the worst years of his career. So he's been careful, and I think over the last maybe 2 or 3 starts, he's said that he's felt more like himself than ever. So you have a combination of him starting to feel his best with him being in potentially the worst possible ballpark he could be in for his stuff.
Well, we'll see what happens with him. Eric, JP Sears. Go back to JP Sears. He has given the Giants trouble before in his career. They ran him out against the Giants at Oracle, and that's the night that Ramos had the 3 homers, and Ramos hit the slam against him, and Flores.
Was that Flores? Flores, right? It was Flores, right?
I'm sorry, what did I say? Ramos? Yeah, Flores had the 3 homers that night, and Ramos did take him out that night. He's 2 for 7 with a homer against him. So Sears is a lefty. Giants are still 8-14 against lefties. Sears is 6-7, 509 earned run average. The WHIP is 130. Shayna, the big thing for me, as you pointed out, is the ballpark. 18 home runs given up by Sears, and at home he's got a 668 earned run average. The A's have the worst home record in baseball, which I'm kind of interested to see this game tonight. I must tell you, to see how it plays, because I haven't really watched any games from Sutter Health Park, whatever it is. But he's given up 12 of his 18 home runs at home, and he's made 7 starts at home and given up 12 home runs. So, Eric, I'll ask you your thoughts about Sears a little bit.
Oh man, he's going to run into the same problem as Verlander probably will, for the simple fact that the ballpark is not friendly. It isn't. It's not friendly confines. I had the privilege of going watching the A's versus the Yankees when Dominguez hit his 3-run shot, and man, it's a live park. You get it in the air, it's going. It's again because it's such a small park. It's not surrounded like some of these other big parks. So you get it in the air, it's gonna go. And JP Sears, he's gonna look. You got Ramos, who seems to be swinging a better bat. We'll see what Devers is going to do against the lefty. And then of course Flores is probably going to be in there. He had you talked about the success he had when he was in Oracle Park. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like when with facing JP Sears in Sutter Health. It's a live park. I mean, and then if you get the Delta breeze blowing, right field will be live. I mean, it's a hitter's ballpark. There's no doubt about it. If you there's going to be no forgiveness for a starting pitcher or any pitcher for that matter that gets the ball in the air. Yeah,
the A's lost 20 of 21. Since that time, they're 13-13, so they're playing a little bit better. They do have that bullpen. And I'm going back to the series with the Giants. You remember Miller intentionally walked Yastrzemski to get to Flores.
Mm-hmm.
And Flores had the hot night the day before, and then he walked him.
That was a great at bat. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
a walk-off walk, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll see how this thing plays out. But Verlander, for me, Shayna, and talk, I watch him in the clubhouse. You're in there, and we got to see him. He walks around very confidently. He's as happy as can be. Ken Rosenthal was in there yesterday talking to him. He has a presence, as you point out. I like that. I really do. That's my comment.
I agree with you. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons they got him. It'd be nice if he won a couple of games, but and it gets harder. But he hadn't pitched that poorly. He just hasn't been great, and the Giants haven't hit. So a bad combination for Verlander.
Yeah. All right. So that's Go ahead, Eric. You want to say something?
and to your point, but it's Verlander's had a little bit of bad luck, right? He did have some bad games, on his part, but the lineup hasn't been there to back him up. So let's see what happens today. If you want to get right, then Colorado usually, as far as a lineup that you want to go there, but Sutter Health, come on, it's
the A's give them trouble. They do play over the years. The Giants would always take advantage of them at AT&T wherever they played, and then they'd go to Oakland and get hammered over there.
I haven't seen Mason. I haven't seen Mason's name in the lineup. Is he still pitching for him? Is he the closer?
Yeah. He's all right. I think so. Yeah, I see him every once in a while. He's in there. So that's it. So we got the lefty, JP Sears. As I said, Giants 8-14 against lefties. And tonight, Alcantara is in the lineup. And we asked Melvin why do you even have him? And Fitzgerald's back is bothering him. So they thought they were thin up the middle because Koss, who actually laid down a nice bunt against the A's in that 3-2 game when they got the walk-off walk on the Sunday game to allow the winning run to score, Bailey. But my point is this: Alcantara is in the lineup. He can't hit. I mean, he's a lifetime 200 hitter, and he'll be here for a day until Chapman comes back tomorrow. But he is hitting ninth tonight. The one thing Melvin did say about the ballpark, he said when we played up here in March, the weather was different, and he does expect to have the type of game the way you guys have described it, and it'll be a different kind of game for them.
It'll be live.
Yeah, the other thing, maybe Chris Townsend will join us later, but the A's have this Nick Kurtz, the first baseman, Mike Forrest, who's hit a ton of home runs. They've got Jacob Wilson, who is the starting shortstop for the American League. He's hitting .339. He's the first rookie to be named the shortstop to start in the American League since Ron Hansen. Rick, you remember Ron Hansen? I remember him.
Absolutely.
Come on, he went to either Albany High School. Yeah, I think Albany High School, Ron Hansen. But he was with the Orioles way back in 1960. It goes back that far. So the A, I think I take the A seriously.
You have to.
I really do. I take him.
And you got Lawrence Butler out there. He's a big lefty that will crush it out there. Yeah, they got a potent lineup. There's no doubt about it. Soderstrom and all these. I mean, it's not going to be a walk in the park. It just isn't. And if Verlander is having issues, commanding his pitches, and he did have a little bit of a command issue when he was playing in Chicago. And look, and he also had the benefit of the wind blowing in a little bit. I know he's not going to have that luxury with the Oakland A's lineup.
Yeah, that helped him a lot. Well, let's talk about Devers at all. You guys got to see Devers this week. Rick, what did you think of Devers this week?
Well, I didn't think Devers caught up with the fastball initially, or for a while, actually, and looked like they were intent on throwing him that fastball with 2 strikes. He looked really good the last game, I thought. He looked like a different hitter. Maybe he's relaxed a little bit. He's a little hurt. I wish he hadn't made that excuse, by the way. He says, I got a groin, I got a problem, but it's not an excuse. Well, that's an excuse. He shouldn't have said anything. But, look, this guy's got a history. Look at the baseball card. He's not gonna hit 180 with no home runs. He's gonna, once he starts hitting and feels more comfortable, he's gonna hit a lot. He's just too good. And that swing is so fearsome. I mean, he comes out of his shoes. It's just that, he just couldn't lay off that high. He must know it. And they know it. The pitchers know it, so they throw him the fastball with 2 strikes, and he can't lay off it, or he fouls it off. But I'm not. I think you guys probably feel this. I'm not worried about Devers at all.
No, well, they're hitting him third. Adames is hitting again.
He is.
When Adames gets his pitch now tonight, he's going to see a lot of breaking balls from Sears, I would imagine. And that's going to be something he's going to have to deal with. But when he gets his pitch, he's hitting it hard. He almost hit it out last night. Was it last night, Eric, when he hit it off the
top of the wall? Yeah, center field.
Just missed hitting it out. And they had a couple of good infield hits where he hit the ball hard. So Adames did all right. He's hitting second. Tonight they have him hitting second. Ramos is leading off. But I'll say this about Devers because I was there to see it. They go right at him, Rick. With fastballs. And some of the scouts said, he is a little bit older and that bat is high. They maybe they'll make an adjustment with him to bring that bat down just a little bit because he is, by the time that bat gets down and gets that 97-mile-an-hour fastball coming up in the zone, he can't
lay off it. He can't lay off it.
No.
Right.
They threw him 8 fastballs in a row last night. Shana, how about that? Remember that with Devers? They threw him 8 fastballs in a row. They show you the pitch sequence in the ballpark there. And it had 4-seam, 8 times, every one of them 95 miles an hour or 94.6. Yeah. And finally, on the 9th pitch, he ripped one down the first baseline. So Shana, what's your thought on Devers? We were talking about him a little bit and all the swings and misses and everything. Well, how do you feel about it?
last game his at-bats just looked very much like what you'd expect from a hitter of that caliber. He had a lot of Bob described him as grindy. He was, compared to Tuesday, where he struck out 4 times, that you saw a complete 180 on in terms of the quality of his at-bats in the last night especially. And I think, he's an all-star hitter. He's one of the best hitters in the game, but it's something to be said about how much it takes out of you adjustment-wise to move across the country, face a completely different set of pitchers, and be on a completely different team. And, he's still in an adjustment period. And I think that for the most part, we've seen the repercussion or the fallout of him adjusting to a new life and a new team. And he's been able to produce a little bit. He's had some pretty ugly at-bats. And it's, kind of dragged down the offense at times, because there's a lot of eyes on him to turn things around, to help turn things around. But I think that what you saw yesterday was probably the most encouraging sign that things are turning around.
Yeah, he swung the bat a little better yesterday. Roger Weigel wants to know why the Giants promoted Alcantara, because Casey Schmidt and Chapman are on the DL, and Fitzgerald's back hurts a little bit, and Koss now is on the DL with a hamstring. By the way, the Koss, did you guys see the Koss ball that the fan interfered with and all that?
Yeah.
That was a home run.
That was a home run. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, that was a tough call, though. I saw it 8 times like you guys did and Shayna did, but it looked like a home run to me. But boy, it was a tough call. Yeah,
it looked like it was going in the stands, and that guy had done this 8 to 10 times before.
Well,
and
throw him out.
Arizona got very heavy with him. They said, "You can't come back at all this year."
Mm-hmm.
Good.
That's
Good.
As they should.
That's, they said, "Look, you can't come back, and also we're going to take your popcorn money too." Come on, the guy should never come back.
Just throw him out. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's not right.
Yeah.
Getting back to Koss, Marty, you got to feel for the guy. These guys go up.
Right.
These guys go up and down all the time. It's hard to make it. You make it with a splash, right? You don't make it when you're 1 for 10. They send you back down, and then they bring you back up, and you can't hit. There's too much pressure. The kid finally started to hit.
Yeah.
And he gets hurt, pulls a hamstring. So
he was the best. He was the best bat in the lineup there for a while.
He
He pulled the hamstring on the home run.
On the home run.
No, he had that before.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Did you see the expression on his face?
No.
Dugout? He knew he was hurt. He was devastated. He finally gets a chance. Finally does it. And he gets hurt. That's the way it is. But
actually, he established himself a little bit where he's here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're sending him out so fast. Matos is up. Shayna, what do you make of Matos being here? What do you think they're going to do with him? He is in the lineup tonight against the lefty. Yastrzemski is not.
I mean, right now it seems like he's an extra body when they're down a couple guys generally, and they've. After a pretty healthy start to the year, it seems like it's been infielders, but all the injuries have been stacking up one by one pretty quickly. So he's an extra body, but he left after the Miami series in Miami after he hit a game-winning home run in essence. So it was kind of a brutal send down. So I guess it's nice to see him back up, and he hit the ball pretty hard yesterday a couple times, I think. So it's good to see him, up again and be able to build off of what we saw last time we saw him, but definitely just extra body when they are in desperate need of having some healthy guys there.
Yeah, Ramos can use a little help sometimes in left field at the end of the game. Rick, he doesn't have much of an arm at all. I mean, I got to see him throw a few times. There's not much coming from him. He's a hitter.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
He is.
Basically, but
what do you guys think? I mean, because they got quite a bit of outfield depth in Sacramento, right? You got McRae, you got Luciano, you got of course Matos. You think maybe they're just some trade bait maybe with Matos since he's killing it in AAA? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, they don't have anybody else ready to come up. I mean, you're talking about guys, McRae and Luciano, who have never done anything. The big leagues, Matos has done all. I think they need a right-handed hitting outfielder, and this is when you bring up guys, you like Carson Seymour. You bring them up now to see what they can do before July 30th. And Seymour, unfortunately, was not ready, and he gave up a few home runs in his thing. But Matos has been here before, and I think you're going to see more of him. I do.
I'm not crazy about his defense, though. I've never been crazy about it.
It should be better.
Yeah, he hits okay, but he strikes out a lot, and he seems to wander around out there. I don't know. He's bad roots, and throws to the wrong base. I get tired of that. I don't have much patience for that. So, I mean, he can hit a little bit, and you need a right-handed outfielder. So fine for a while.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a quick break. I want to talk about Jung-Hoo Lee when we come back. He had a game, and then I made suggestions. I don't know if I say it to Melvin. I said to Zach Manassian what I think they should be doing with Jung-Hoo Lee. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back and talk about him.
Fans, I heard from Gene Bagato up in Bodega Bay, and he said his entire staff is geared up and ready to welcome summer travelers looking to escape the heat. And you know what I'm talking about. Down at the wharf, a varied menu offering everything from juicy hamburgers to the highest quality seafood. All those dishes await you. Hungry for a great meal? Check it out. For people looking to enjoy the relaxing Sonoma coast, the gift shop and fish market has everything one needs for a visit to the beach, from towels and swimwear to picnic items and beverages. It reminds me of growing up in Miami Beach. That's what it was like. And if you're looking to stay a while, the fabulous Inn at the Tides, with its spacious rooms and stunning views, awaits with its heated swimming pool and hot tub spa, as well as the Bayview dining room featuring the great creations of Chef Remy Madrid. So if you're interested in a fantastic getaway, not far from the Bay Area, you don't have to look any further than the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in scenic Bodega Bay. Hello again, Marty Lurie here to talk to you about my good friends at Georgie Brothers, the largest family-owned furniture store in the entire Bay Area. Right now, and good through August 4th, you can save hundreds of dollars on almost anything in the Stressless line. This includes sofas, sectionals, recliners, and the original Stressless chair and ottoman. And I have them in my house. Evan's got one, Bonnie's got one, Aaron's got one. They couldn't be more comfortable. Those Stressless chairs, they're fabulous. Well, the more you spend, the more you save. I own Stressless furniture, and I can tell you, once again, it's the most comfortable place I have to sit in my home. Visit them at GeorgieBrothers.com. That's GIORGIBROS.com.
All right, good to have you back here. All right, I want to talk about Jung-Hoo Lee. And I did say this a few times, and I asked Melvin yesterday about Jung-Hoo's game the night before. I think he ought to lead off. I think they ought to put him back in the leadoff spot. I realize he was 6 for 60 and all this kind of stuff, but as Glenn Kuiper pointed out to us, he doesn't strike out that much. He's a catalyst. He makes stuff happen. And if this team is going to do anything, they need him to be part of it. And I think he's just wasting away in the middle of the lineup. Shayna, I say put him back in the leadoff spot and just let him play.
Even if he hasn't, he started hitting recently, but I think just given the way that he had been going before he came a homer shy of the cycle, and he hit pretty well yesterday. But if you had, I think if Bob had done that, given the stretch he was enduring this last month, it would have seemed a little bit like he was shooting himself in the foot. But I think generally speaking, I could see that down the line being him moving back up to maybe the leadoff spot. It hasn't been he's been there a couple times, but I could see that happening if this progression he's on continues, or at least higher up.
Yeah, well, I think it would make him a different hitter. I think it would make him a hitter the way he should slap the ball around more. Maybe he'll lay down more bunts, and he'll react more like a leadoff hitter. But you put him in the middle of the lineup, he thinks he's got to hit home runs, and he's coming up in RBI situations all the time, and it's not happening. So I'd put him up there where he, I think, would be more comfortable. I don't know.
Maybe draw a few more walks too, right? Maybe draw a few more walks, get on base.
Yeah, get on. He's a catalyst. Get this guy on base.
I agree 100%. Lead him off. First of all, how about somebody telling Lee, how about Burrell telling Lee, look, when the third baseman is 50 feet from third base, how about bunting? And he can bunt. Right. Why doesn't that ever happen? I mean, he's only bunted a couple or three times, I think, the whole
he's
season.
Coming up in RBI situations.
Well, you're right. That's what I say. Lead him off. That might be the best way to get him on base. Exactly right. And he runs pretty good. He's
the grandson of the wind. Come on. You know, he does run. No, he does.
And I like him because if you lead him off, right, and you get a hit, I like him going first to third. Right.
Guys should be a leadoff hitter. If they're going anywhere, he's got to do it. Let's talk Adames a little bit. I think he had a good week. Shayna, your thoughts on Adames?
Yeah, it seems like he's turning a corner a little bit. It's been kind of a quiet corner turn, but he's definitely it seems like he's pressing a little less. He seems a little bit less stressed. He's not chasing as much. So it's not been he hasn't really had too many breakout games. He's hit a couple more home runs of late, but so you see him slowly breaking out of the funk that seemed like consumed him since the beginning. So that's definitely progress.
Yeah. I said what I saw this week. He gets his pitch, he's not missing it, and he's hitting more balls 109 miles an hour than he is striking out because they're just. He's getting a pitch to hit, and he's hitting it. Now they'll still curve him to death and sweeper him to death, and that's what you have to do to him. But if they don't, he can hit a high pitch, and he can do some damage. So I think he's a key for me. Going down the stretch, Paulo's Adventures. Will Matt Chapman play this weekend against the A's? Shayna, I think he will. If nothing crazy happens tonight in Reno, where he's playing, he will be in the lineup tomorrow. He looks so happy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the guy. He's ready to play. Agree?
Yeah, he's been itching since the day he got injured, basically, to come. I mean, obviously, he knew it was going to take a while. He was very freaked out when he got the injury, and you rarely see him that sort of stunned by an injury. He kind of takes a lot in stride or doesn't show much on his face, but you could tell it was going to be a while the minute the injury happened. So it's not surprising also that he's coming back a little bit sooner than expected. I think that they were pretty cautious in their expectation that he'd be back by the Phillies series, but it sounds, unless something weird happens in Reno, it sounds like I wouldn't be surprised if he's back tomorrow or the next day at least.
Yeah. I mean, come on. The guy's out 4 weeks and someone shook his hand too hard. I mean, really,
Come on, Marty. Jeez.
That's Marty. The injury. You better get another mitt. I'll tell you that. If he's going to
the mitt on the wrong hand.
Hey, Marty, we got Chris in the green room there. Let me know when you're ready to bring him in.
Okay. One quick one to live insurance. What moves does Posey need to make before deadline? We'll take that up after we talk with Chris. He's got some limited time. But one is starting pitching, and we'll talk about that. Can we bring Chris Townsend in?
Yeah, here we go. Let's bring him in. All right. There we go.
Chris. Hey, how are you?
Hello, Marty Lurie.
Hey, love to have you here. You're with Shayna Rubin, Eric, and Rick Smith, and we're ready for baseball. Who's with you there? Is that Kobe?
I brought a special guest because you guys don't care about me. I brought a two-time World Series champion, a 5-time All-Star, and former Rookie of the Year, Steve Sachs.
Hey, all right. Right on.
How y'all doing?
Yeah.
To be with you.
Oh,
that's
good.
Awesome.
Hey, what is the atmosphere like tonight? This is a big deal for the Giants coming up there. It's the middle of the season. It's July 4th. What's it like up there, guys?
Oh, I can tell you it's going to be absolutely packed. We've already seen it from where we are here, Marty, down the left field line where our set is, where we do all the stuff for Ace Cast and also Ace Cast on NBC Sports California. But you're seeing a ton of A's fans, ton of Giant fans, kind of like what we've seen back in the Bay Area. Yep. But up here, it's going to be a little bit different, right? Because obviously this for so long was the A's AAA affiliate. Now
Yes.
it's the Giants AAA affiliate. So, but it's going to be very spirited. It's going to be packed. I mean, you know, Steve's from here, from West Sacramento.
Yep.
I think the weekend we're going to have is going to be super special.
Oh, it's going to be amazing, and it's very reminiscent of the games that I used to experience as a player with the the rivalry when I had with the Dodgers and the Giants. A's and the Giants, very much the same thing with the proximity of the stadiums and whatnot. The fans are electric here. Of course, it's not the major league size, but there's a lot of electricity in the stands already during batting practice. So it's going to be a very, very fun weekend.
Steve, weather has always been a factor in all the discussions about Sacramento. What's it like tonight? And look, you know, the guys have played in Texas, right, Chris? When, you know, it's 105 degrees. St. Louis and Cincinnati, you had to put cabbage in your hat to play there. What's it like for you guys tonight up there?
Well, it's, Townie knows we do this all the time. We look over our shoulder, kind of like you do in Wrigley Field, and you see where the flags are blowing. They're blowing right to left, so towards center field. The ball's going to carry a little bit tonight. But usually we get those dead nights in the middle of summer. No humidity, but just really hot. And it's great baseball weather. I loved it growing up as a kid because I grew up right here in West Sacramento, about 2.5 miles that way on a farming district. And I loved it. It was the best way to grow up, and the weather was fantastic.
Marty, all the panic that everybody had about heat, it's 81 degrees right now.
Yeah.
Like this series, by the time games start, it's going to be like 80, even in the high 70s. Even today, when we got to the ballpark today, I think the high was like 84, 85. It's amazing how and I get the narrative. Everybody's trying to make everything negative and everything. I mean, just look at what it was in New York not too long ago. It was 97, 98 degrees with humidity at Yankee Stadium. Are we going to move the Yankees out of New York Stadium now because it's too hot, Marty? Of course we're not going to. But, the whole narrative of how it's going to get a lot hotter.
Yeah.
But right now, it's by game time, it's going to be
now.
about 80, 79 degrees. For the next 3 days, weather will not be a problem. It's perfect summer weather.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I saw the program. Matter of fact, I'll be over there Sunday. Going to watch that last game, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be beautiful. We got a super chat here from Rick S. $5. Thank you. Never missed an A's pregame show of yours, Marty, back in the day. Who was your favorite A's interview from those years?
Well, I'll give you two. One was Ken Maka. I love talking ball with Mock, and he was always very blunt about everything that was going on in baseball. Player-wise, I think it's Jason Giambi. Jason was always he was always there. He was available, and he gave you an answer. So I'll go Jason Giambi. How about you, Chris? Do you have a favorite over all these years?
I have a favorite of yours who you used to do. I would say, Marty, no one did more interviews and better interviews, and it doesn't matter Giants or A's, than the great Marty Lurie, Bay Area Radio Hall of Famer. Non-A, non-Giant, best relationship. The interviews were special because you knew how much he respected you. He was such a great player. I'd go Torrey Hunter.
Yeah. I look forward to him coming in. Yeah, Torrey Hunt, thank you. That was a good one. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, this is fun. Shayna Rubin is with us. She covers the Giants for the Chronicle. Shayna, questions for Chris, maybe about the ballpark or things that you have on your mind about this series coming up?
Oh, questions. I mean, I don't know if I want to know your response to everything that Luis Severino has been saying about how difficult it's been for him pitching in this ballpark, and if you're taken aback at how outspoken he's been about the difficulties for him there.
You know, the way I've looked at it, and we just had Dave Stewart on the show, and the way we were thinking about it, it's just, you know, to hear him say that, you know, it's not like Luis Severino was traded here. It's not like Luis Severino was forced here. It's not like Luis Severino signed a 1-year deal. He signed a 3-year contract extension for $67 million. So clearly there was a number. The A's were giving him a number. No one else was giving it to him. Obviously, they probably had to give him a little bit more so he would pitch here. He knew everything that he was getting into. Now, Dave Stewart made a good point going, listen, everybody's expecting him to be the leader of the staff, to be the dude. He's never had to do that. Yeah. He didn't have to do that in New York with the Yankees or in New York with the New York Mets. So this is the first time he is going through that. Yeah. But you start to see, like, when all of a sudden there's struggles, now you start to blame things. I know a lot of people have focused, and he's been, for the most part, great on the road this year, but I started looking at his career splits. Last year with the Mets, his road ERA was 5, so it's not like he's been this road warrior in his career. I think for a lot of people, to be honest, it's a little disappointing that the excuses of the ballpark has come up, because you've seen other teams come here and not have the struggles pitching-wise or offensively. Steve, you're a former player. You know, the expectations of a guy that signs the big deal, it's a record deal for the franchise. It's big money.
Yeah.
It's multi-years. He knew what he was getting into.
Right.
To then now go, well, the struggles could be the ballpark. How do you feel about it?
I don't like to lay it on the ballpark. You know, when I first went to Yankee Stadium, when I signed there, I went there on a winter's day. The field was covered with snow. And I went out in the field just to look around. I said, man, this is going to be a terrible place to hit. And I thought, well, no, let's just wait a little bit, right? Get there after spring training, and turned out to be a great place to hit. So to me, I think the bases are 60 feet, the home plate 60 feet 6 inches away. The bases are 90 feet. That to me doesn't make a difference.
Well, and recently we have watched a few of the pitchers. If we're just talking about the A's, Jacob Lopez has been nails here.
Yes.
Mitch Spence has done really well. So, you know, you start looking at it. You don't like to see guys who just signed to the big contract start to make excuses, but we're going to see what he does on Saturday. And if it continues to be the problem, we'll see. But remember, the A's offered him more money. If we're going by what was reported, the A's offered him more money than anybody else. It wasn't even close. So there's a lot of people go, well, what about the trade market? I look at it and say, well, if someone didn't want to offer him this kind of money 6 months ago, who's going to now want to take on that money and give you capital when you start talking about prospects? So not sure. I just think Luis Severino needs to stop worrying about certain things and come out here and start getting some outs.
Yeah, I will tell you this. Not a lot of starting pitchers available on the market. Everybody wants one. So we'll see how that turns out. Let's talk JP Sears, Steve. 18 home runs given up this year, 12 at home.
Yeah.
With a 668. First of all, how do you think the park plays? How would you describe it? And secondly, tell me a little bit about Sears, what we can expect tonight.
Well, you know, Marty, it's kind of a mixed bag when you talk about this park. Like tonight, as I said, it's going to be blowing out from right to left, which is going to be good for the right-handed hitters against Sears, and that's not a good matchup for him. Now, can he turn this thing around and negate that by making that changeup work great on the outside part of the plate, having these guys roll over to shortstop? Sure he can. The thing about it was the way Sears pitch, and in spring's very much the same way, is because they don't have the uber stuff as far as velocity goes. They nearly have to pitch perfect to win. And that's how they're kind of sculpted out there to pitch, is to hit the spots, turn over the changeup, and come off the plate inside with the fastball. Make sure you get it in there so you don't leave it out over the plate. They have to pitch perfectly to win, and they know it. And, if he does, I don't think the weather's going to make a difference.
Boy, pretty exciting. Jacob Wilson, Chris, starting shortstop. I do remember Ron Hansen, the last rookie shortstop to start for the American League. I think he's out of Albany High School, to tell you the truth, but 1960. But this kid, Wilson, against the Giants, the first series, swung at everything, and I don't think he did a lot of damage. But you look at the player he's turned into. How about that?
Yeah, he's something special. His bat to ball skills are absolutely elite, and he's now hit for some power. Marty, to be voted in, first time ever to be a rookie shortstop voted in at the All-Star game, tells you a lot about how baseball, the people around baseball, because as we've mentioned, I mean, what has happened with the A's, West Sacramento fans and everything. It'd be one thing if a Yankee rookie shortstop got voted in. You would understand because of how many Yankee fans there are. So it really shows how everybody in baseball has been paying attention if he's going to get voted in. The kid is something special. Obviously, his dad was an all-star. We've got a chance to speak with his dad multiple times on our show, and the way he trained him growing up. There's just something that when he gets in the box, he's ready to hit. He's not looking for a walk. He's ready to swing it. And, you start being a rookie shortstop that has over 200 hits. He's a big kid. He's 6'2". He's still just going to get bigger. He's shown he has more pop than when they thought he would have coming out of Grand Canyon. Steve, you've been so impressed with him, but you just think about the combination of defense and the fact that he's probably going to give you 200 hits on the season or more.
Right.
The combination of his ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark, but more importantly, to put it in play on a consistent basis. This kid is a breath of fresh air.
I mean, Townie, check every box, fellas. This guy is incredible. I look at what he did at Grand Canyon. He hit 400. He had 3 stops in the minor leagues last year. He hit a combined 433. Now he's in the big leagues for a full year, and he's hitting 340. Check me if I'm wrong, but I'm seeing a pattern here. Okay, this isn't happenstance. This isn't, a first time through in luck. This man can hit. I don't know where his ceiling is, but I don't think we've seen close to it either on either side of the ball. I think he's a fantastic defender, and he's going to get better and better as we go along. I don't know where the ceiling is for this young man, but you start to talk about him when you talk about guys like Don Mattingly and Tony Gwynn and Wade Boggs, and whether that's the right zone to put him in or not this early. I don't know, but I know one thing: he can hit the ball anywhere, and he can wait as long as he wants to take it out of that catcher's glove and rifle it to right field. That's a nice sanctuary to live in for a while.
Well, Steve Sachs, Roger Weigel says you're the last great athlete out of James Marshall High School. All right.
They got to. Hey, Marty.
Apparently, you're a legend.
Well,
there you go.
We only had 40 people in our graduating class, so I guess I was okay.
Hey, Marty, they got to get ready for their sound check, so they only got a couple of more minutes left.
Absolutely. Hey, it's a pleasure having you on. Chris, you're the hardest working guy in show business. You know that. I've said it. You do a fabulous job. And, Steve, just to hear you on the air and what you bring to the table, A's are lucky to have you guys, I must say.
Thank you.
Marty, you are the best, my friend. You are the best.
Guys. Thank you, Marty.
You take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Thanks. All right. Very good.
Hey, that was great.
Marty, do you know how the field is configured? Does the westerly wind blow towards the outfield, or how is it configured?
Well, Shayna, do you know any of this? He said it's blowing from right field to left field.
Yeah.
So what is that?
Yeah, that's a little bit different. Usually it's a delta breeze. Usually it's blowing in from the west going to the east, usually.
Yeah, Eric is part of the Air Force. You know that. So he's gonna...
Well, I've lived in the Central Valley almost all my whole life, except for the times I was away. But yeah,
the wind's a factor, right?
Wind can play a factor,
right, Eric?
It can be, absolutely.
I tell you, after watching the Giants down in Arizona, and they hit the ball, they're starting to hit a little bit. Believe me, and they're in good shape, wild card wise. They're still in decent shape because of the competition. Yeah. St. Louis is falling apart. We'll see if Cincinnati can put anything together. We'll see, but they're in decent shape. But it's watching games in this park. You got Verlander going tonight. Nick Kurtz, the kid from Wake Forest, a big-time rookie, what he's doing. I find this series fascinating.
It's going to be fun.
I do, Shayna. I really do. I can't wait to see the game tonight, to see what happens.
Yeah, it's really I'm fascinated by the A's offense. I'm fascinated by their ability to get their young players ready for the big so quickly, and how they churn out exciting teams just every few years. And this is a very I watched them play the Yankees a few months ago, and the Yankees, Aaron Judge kind of just owned the place, but they have a very exciting team to watch, and Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson and Lawrence Butler, and it's I think it's going to be interesting to watch that offense compete against the Giants pitching staff, even though their pitching staff's been a little bit beat up and showing its wear and tear a little bit of late, not too badly, but nonetheless. I think it's going to, and in this ballpark especially, could magnify a lot of what will happen. It could define the entire series, but I think it's going to be interesting to see that offense versus the Giants pitching staff.
All right. Bob Melvin got into it with the team the other night. This is after the Bailey game with all the pass balls and all that stuff. Andy Bagley wrote about it today in The Athletic, that Melvin kind of aired the team out. Shayna, what do you think about that?
Bob was pretty frustrated after that game, and this is supposed to be a soft part of the schedule, and they still have one more series to play in this road trip, but They haven't played well when they really needed to, and they've come out with good energy for the first few innings and then just fallen flat. And that's not including the last 2 games where I think you saw a little bit of an energy shift. But it felt like at some point there needed to be an airing out or a team meeting or something to sort of kickstart the energy in there. And I think, yesterday it seemed like after the game, it did seem like there was a very extreme energy shift between then and after the White Sox series, where everyone was just really down in Chicago. Like I think that's the most down and out I've seen them spiritually after any game. And we talked to Mike Yastrzemski, and he was pretty blunt about it. He was, they were upset about how they were playing. So I think that they were due for a wake up call, and at this point seems fitting.
Yeah, no, they got it. And the atmosphere, because I was there and I got to see it, no question in my mind, the atmosphere changed. And of course, to win a couple of games, that does it for you all the time. All right. Another question.
Go
ahead, Rick.
Go ahead.
No, please.
No, that was the appropriate time to call the meeting, because they were losing earlier. They couldn't hit. Then it looked like, I think it's the second game with Arizona, it looked like they lost their mental focus. I mean, Bailey was kind of, I don't know what was going on with him. And then one of the outfielders threw the wrong base. And I think that was getting to somebody didn't hold the runner on. He stole. So I think that got to Melvin. That was the perfect time. You can't hold too many meetings, but that was the perfect time to hold one.
Yep.
No, and the other thing is Posey was there until yesterday. So was Zach Manassian. Bobby Evans was there. I mean, they all were there to see what was going on. So I'm sure Bob Melvin had to account to Posey a little bit. And, he reacted, because you don't see that from Melvin very often. All right, let's take a break.
No.
There is a question about what they're going to do at the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear from Shayna on this one, and you guys, what you think they need. We saw Birdsong and Roop, Verlander tonight. Matos is here. Let's talk a little bit, because this is July. It's July 4th. And, it's 3 weeks away from really, when they got to make something happen. So we'll take a quick break and come back with that.
Fans, Bridge Bank delivers their clients full relationship banking, including treasury management solutions and global market services. Bridge Bank offers financing solutions to businesses for their working capital, equipment, and real estate needs. This is very important in today's world. Fred Voss is the Senior Managing Director of Bridge Bank's commercial lending efforts in Northern California. He has commercial banking teams in San Jose with Jesse Garcia, San Francisco, Oakland, Cheadle Cordova, and in Pleasanton. Bridge Bank, it's like banking at home. I can't say enough about it. Fans, joining us is Grant Power, President and CEO of Nations. Grant, last year we talked about the amazing breakfast at Nations. I'm going to ask you this. What's your favorite lunch?
I'm pretty split. I guess I'm kind of like a pitcher who has 2 favorite pitches they like leaning on. I'd say half the time I do the hamburger, and half the time I do the wild salmon burger. It really depends on which protein you want. We love our beef supplier in Northern California. We've been with them for decades. We test our beef all the time. We sell ocean-caught wild salmon. Friends don't let friends eat farm salmon. It's absolutely delicious. To mix it up, I guess it's like a pitcher who has a 2-seamer and a 4-seamer, or maybe a 4-seamer and a cutter. I actually go grilled onions on my hamburger half the time and raw onions the other half. Today at lunch, I got the French fries, but half the time I get the onion rings, and I had a wonderful slice of pecan pie. There's something for everybody, whether you like hot dogs or grilled cheese. It's really up to the individual what mood they're in, but my go-to is either the beef with the hamburger or the wild salmon, which is absolutely delicious.
Wow, I love it. Grant Power, President, CEO of Nations. Grant, thanks so much.
Pleasure being on.
I'm hungry.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
That was good. All right, Shayna, what do you think they have to do here? Trade deadline wise, what do you think they will do, or what do you think they should do?
It's hard to say what they will do, because I think it's entirely dependent on the market. I think that they should be probably looking for another starter. It's funny because all year it feels like we're talking about how much depth they have on the pitching staff, and just in terms of what they have in the big leagues team and in Sacramento. And the Kyle Harrison trade, not that he's the answer to all their problems, but it kind of opened up a hole where suddenly it's Hayden Birdsong and Landon Roop taking on more than they ever have. And then, you have Verlander, who you never know with his health. And then you have one of the best 1-2 punches in baseball at the top. So there's kind of like the broadest spectrum of reliability there. So I think in terms of their contention, and if they really want to fortify their pitching staff, which is what they're going to try to contend with, they probably need to find another starter who can make up as a safety net, someone that can maybe kick up their pitching staff to another level. I think that's if they want to make a run and really hone in on their strength, that would be probably where they would look first.
Yeah, Rick, what do you think?
Well, yeah, unless Weisenhut is ready to go, they need a pitcher. They lost Harrison in the trade. Birdsong looks very, very shaky. It looks like something happens to him in the third or fourth inning every game. They can't count on him now. And so down the stretch, you need somebody you can count on, a veteran, to be the third starter, really. And maybe that's really, if they got a good one, maybe that's all they need. They could always use another outfield a hitter, maybe a backup catcher, I guess. I don't even have a problem with the catcher that's in. But they do need another starter. I'd leave the bullpen pretty much alone. Maybe another lefty.
Yeah, another lefty for me in the bullpen, I think, for sure. I wouldn't mind seeing this Ryan Walker. I love the kid, but boy, he's a problem now. I wouldn't mind seeing another right-handed guy in the middle, unless they're going to give Bivens that job. Spencer Bivens, give that job to him. But
How about this, Marty? This is what I was thinking. I like it. I would love to get another number 3 starter. Probably easier said than done. And then move Birdsong into the bullpen. He's fantastic for 1 or 2 innings. Make him. You kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You got your bullpen depth with Birdsong transitioning to the bullpen. Get that starter if you can. And then, I would love to see another bat. If you could get another bat just to lengthen the lineup a little bit longer, that would be fantastic.
Okay. Shayna, I know Logan Webb's going to be an all-star. Is Robbie Ray going to be one too?
I think he should be. I think just the nature of the all-star game, having to have 1 player per team, kind of sullies the odds. But I think that for a team that's, like I said, contending because of its pitching staff, and because Robbie has put up numbers akin to Logan's and some of the best numbers in the National League, I think that it'd be a shame if he didn't make the All-Star game, to be honest.
Yeah, Rick, you think Robbie Ray? I mean, I think he's a lock, right? Even ahead of Webb.
Oh, he's a lock. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a pretty good one too, as Shayna said. Webb or I think they both make it. Really, I don't know how you pick one from the other. And then you know what? Maybe a sentimental pick of Wilmer, Marty. What do you think? You with me on Wilmer?
Do they have a humanitarian award? Is that it?
Come on.
Hey, he's leading the team, and he's still leading the team in RBIs. And him and Ramos really have been.
He'll win the game for the National League in the 9th inning of the All-Star game.
He may. Seriously. He gives you that kind of at bat. He really does. Yeah.
Right, Shayna?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's yeah, why not? Wilmer's been their most not useful, but he's been their clutch guy. He's been the guy that's won them a couple games. He's been their hero. So if you're gonna pick the hero of the offense of late, or the entire year, except for a couple rough patches, why not Wilmer?
You think we're ever gonna see Devers at first base?
I think so. He's dealing with a groin/back situation. He's taking ground balls at first base. It was supposed to happen sometime during this road trip, if not for the groin back thing. So I think it will happen. It's just really hard to tell exactly when.
Yeah, I watched him take ground balls at first and see him move around, and he can kind of catch a ground ball, but any of the moves the first baseman's got to make, the throw to second,
Yeah.
Or scooping something from the dirt, he's got a long way to go. So I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I think Wilmer may get more shots at first base than Devers with Wilmer with Smith. J.K. says
if he's got a bad Marty, if he's got a bad groin, you can't stretch for those throws.
No, plus you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
You don't want to do anything to challenge this guy's bat. They're in it.
Point. Yeah.
They're in it. Yep.
In it. They're in this thing. As miserable as they play and this and that, they're either in the third spot or a game behind or a half a game out of the second spot. And that's the way this thing's going to go down the stretch. So you don't want to do anything to jeopardize it. JK, Sears, the funky lefty, Giants are going to get smoked. Write this down, 3-0 through 5 innings. The Giants will have 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, and a walk. All right.
Look at that. Jay's high on JP Sears. I don't know, Jay.
There's an optimist there.
Call Louis Ortiz and see what he thinks about it. All right. They need a durable starter and a bat. How about starting Wisely tonight over Fitz? Wisely hits left-handed, right, Shayna? So they're not going to – they need Fitzgerald in there tonight. Robbie Ray should be in contention for Cy Young. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Sure.
He can win 16, 17 games this year, which in today's world is pretty good. All right. We'll take another break. We have a very special presentation tonight from Ernie Harwell, the great Hall of Fame broadcaster. And I play it every year, and I want to do it for our show tonight. I think you guys will enjoy it. So let's take a break, and we'll come back with Ernie Harwell and his Ode to Baseball on this July 4th. It's pretty good. It's a good way to end the show.
Hey, it's Marty, and I'm here to tell you that it's time to discover the islands, and of course that means River Islands. They're celebrating 10 years of bringing the good life to Bay Area homebuyers. What's more, Del Webb, one of America's best-known builders for active adults in the 55 and over crowd, has just opened 3 neighborhoods at River Islands. They're building a huge community center on its own lake, all for buyers looking for a great lifestyle and a little less maintenance. I like that. Homes are priced from the 600,000s. Start your tour online at riverislands.com. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands? It sure is for me. It's been a pleasure working with Rick Robin this year. Rick Robin, ROBBEN, NapaConstruction.com. Rick, the last time you were on with us, you told us about kitchen and bath remodeling, but there's a lot more going on up in your area.
Yes, there is. ADUs, auxiliary dwelling units, which are known as granny units. We can do your existing garage, attached garage, even building a new unit in the back. And so what we do is come out, bring our architect out there. Such a great thing. No sewer hookup fees, no water hookup fees. So that's what we do.
Rick, how does one start the process with you? How does one get in touch with you?
You call Tammy, 707-332-7575, 7 days a week.
Rick Robin, ConstructionNapa.com. Rick, the thing I like about this, no problem for me. You come out with the plans, the permits, everything is in-house, no fees, and you get a new unit that you can rent out and get money back on your investment right away. I like it, Rick.
Thanks, Marty. Love talking to you.
Rick Robin, ConstructionNapa.com.
All right. So, Eric, we have this is the Ode to Baseball by Ernie Harwell. By the way, the lineup very quickly before we do that. Ramos, Adames, Devers, Flores, Lee, Matos in tonight, Fitzgerald, Bailey, and Sergio Alcantara makes his Giants debut tonight. So let's hear from Ernie Harwell, the great Hall of Fame broadcaster.
All right, here we go.
Hello, fans. This is Marty Lurie. Baseball has always captured the national spotlight on July the 4th. Baseball is interwoven with the summer in America and perhaps is most noticed during the July 4th doubleheaders, picnics, and then the eventual fireworks celebrations. Hall of Famer Ernie Harwell told it best when he composed his ode to baseball during the 50s. Sit back and enjoy the loving words of Ernie Harwell as he tells us what baseball means to us all on this July the 4th.
Well, thank you, Marty. I wrote this back in 1955, and the names of the villains and the heroes have changed since then, and a lot of other things have changed. But I really feel that the spirit of the game between the lines is pretty much the same as it was, even back that far. And here's my definition of baseball. A baseball is a president tossing out the first ball of the season, and a pudgy schoolboy playing catch with his dad on the Mississippi farm. A tall, thin old man waving a scorecard from the corner of his dugout, that's baseball. And so is a big, fat guy with a bulbous nose running home one of his 714 home runs. There's a man in Mobile who remembers that Honus Wagner hit a triple in Pittsburgh 46 years ago. That's baseball. And so is a scout reporting that a 16-year-old Sandlot pitcher in Cheyenne is a coming Walter Johnson. Baseball is a spirited race of man against man, reflex against reflex, a game of inches. Every skill is measured. Every heroic, every failing is seen and cheered or booed, and then becomes a statistic. In baseball, democracy shines its clearest. The only race that matters is a race to the bag. The creed is the rule book, and color merely something to distinguish one team's uniform from another. Baseball is a rookie, his experience no bigger than the lump in his throat as he begins fulfillment of his dream. And it's a veteran, too, a tired old man of 35, hoping that those aching muscles can pull him through another sweltering August and September. Nicknames of baseball, names like Zeke and Pie and Kai and Home Run and Cracker and Dizzy and Dazzy. Baseball is the clear, cool eyes of Rogers Hornsby, the flashing spikes of a Ty Cobb and an overage pixie named Rabbit Moranville. Baseball, just a game as simple as a ball and bat, and yet as complex as the American spirit it symbolizes. It's a sport, business, and sometimes almost even religion. Why, the fairy tale of Willie Mays making a brilliant World Series catch and then dashing off to play stickball in the streets with his teenage pals, that's baseball. And so is the husky voice of a Doom Lou Gehrig saying, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Baseball is cigar smoke, hot roasted peanuts, sporting news, ladies' day, down in front. Take me out to the ball game, the seventh inning stretch, and the Star-Spangled Banner. Baseball is a man named Campanella telling the nation's business leaders, you have to be a man to be a big leaguer, but you have to have a lot of little boy in you, too. This is a game for America, this baseball, a game for boys and for men.
Well, I'll tell you, I think it's one of the nicest things I've ever heard. How did it all come about?
It came about, Marty, because I was going out when I was in Baltimore one winter. I was going out to make a speech and began to think about baseball and what it had meant to me over the years. And I had an envelope. I just had a pencil and started writing down some stuff, and it sort of evolved from that.
Ernie Harwell was inducted into the Broadcasters Wing of the Hall of Fame in 1981. The fifth person honored with his profession's highest accolade, the Ford C. Frick Award. Harwell followed legendary baseball voices Mel Allen, Red Barber, Bob Elson, and Russ Hodges into Cooperstown. Ernie Harwell, an accomplished composer as well as a baseball commentator, retired from active broadcasting after the 2002 season. He was terrific. This is Marty Lurie. Enjoy baseball. Enjoy July the 4th. They go together. See you tomorrow at the park for more memories of the game.
Eric, great job putting that together.
I love that.
Very good, Eric.
Thank you. I love that. I love you play it every fourth. Like,
I
man,
do.
Some justice. I got to do it some justice.
One of the
Good job.
Shannon, you like it? Shannon?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Sorry, I can't hear you. That was great. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that was really good. That was good. Well, Eric, thank you again for putting that together.
You betcha. You betcha.
JK says he is a Giants fan, even though he thought Sears is doing well. Matt Gage has been picked up. Shayna, do you know anything about Matt Gage, the lefty reliever? He's in Sacramento.
I'll have to learn a little bit more, and so I can give a more informed opinion.
He's kicked around a little bit,
Yeah.
but they've got him again, lefty reliever. All right, this is going to be fun. I love the show. Was just terrific tonight. This is a great pregame, and I tell you, I'm looking forward to this series. I really am.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, look, the Giants need to win some games here because they got the Phillies and Dodgers coming in.
It's not getting easier. Not getting easier.
So you get Verlander here, and who comes up next? Who's up? Is Webb next? Yeah, Webb next, and that would be Severino, right? That'd be Webb and Severino tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we get this Jacob Lopez on Sunday. So this is going to be fun. But thank you so much, Shayna. Thank you for being part of this tonight. You did a great job.
Thanks. Thank you for having me, Marty. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you did a beautiful job. Eric, thank you again. And Ryan, our producer, and Rick, here we go. Huh?
Okay, Marty. Shayna, Eric, good to see you guys again.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your fourth, Rick. Shayna,
Right.
nice to meet you.
Okay.
Good.
Nice to meet you guys.
Have a good night, everybody, as we say good night right now with Ruby Barmay.
Thank you kindly. Enjoy the next week. We've got a whole bunch of baseball to speak on here at Marty and Friends.